Hey guys, this is God of Politics, and welcome back to a brand new video. But before we get started, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. I will have all of those linked down in the description. But today's video is going to be my prediction for the 2020 Senate elections. Obviously, it is the beginning of the month. Today's date is April 4th when I am recording this video, so I'm going to be doing my election predictions because obviously the elections are at the beginning of the month of November. So I will be doing my predictions at the beginning of the month for every month until the election. But today's election prediction is going to be the Senate election prediction. Yesterday's prediction was the presidential election prediction for Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. But today I am going to be doing the Senate election prediction, how I think that the Senate is going to go. Obviously, the current makeup of the Senate is 53 Republicans and 47 Democrats. But Democrats are looking to take back the Senate along with the presidency. So we're going to see, is there an ability for them to do that, or will the Republicans maintain the Senate this year? So I'm first going to fill out the safe states for the Republicans, and I'll do the safe states for the Democrats. So for the safe states for the Republicans, the state of Idaho will be a safe state, the state of Wyoming will be a safe state, South Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Alaska, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, as well as West Virginia will all be safe states for the Republicans. And then for the Democrats, the state of Oregon will be a safe state. The state of Illinois will be a safe state. The state of New Jersey will be a safe state. The state of Delaware will be a safe state. The state of Virginia, even with Mark Warner, will also be a safe state. The state of Massachusetts and Rhode Island will also both be safe states. So that puts the Democrats at 42 safe seats and the Republicans at 41 safe seats. Now we'll do the likely, lean, and tilt states for either side. So we'll start up here. Montana, I think it's going to be a lean margin. I think this is going to be a lot closer than people actually think it will. I think it'll be right around 2 to 3 points. You have Steve Bullock, the current incumbent governor who is term limited, running for the Senate. He said for months that he wouldn't run for Senate, but now he is running for the Senate seat. He is running against Steve Daines, the Republican incumbent, who isn't too popular, but he's not too unpopular either. But Steve Bullock is pretty popular. He's a pretty popular governor. So that is going to be closer. And I think obviously national politics are different than state politics, but we've shown when Jon Tester won in 2018 that Democrats do have the ability to win national politics in this state. And I think that it will be closer than people think, but Steve Daines will end up winning against Steve Bullock. So if we go down here, I think Kansas is also going to be a lean margin. This is another state that I think will be closer than most people think. You have Chris Kobach, who's likely going to be the nominee here, and that's going to be something interesting because Chris Kobach lost by 5 points in the governorship race in 2018, as well as the fact that there's an independent who got 6% of the vote, which most likely would have gone to the Democratic candidate. Chris Kobach is not a very popular figure. He's a very polarizing figure, and that's why he didn't do well in the Kansas governorship race. And while he still will win the Senate race, it'll be closer, and it'll be by a lean margin, probably by around 3 to 4 points. We'll go up here to the state of Iowa. I think that Iowa will also be by a lean margin. You have Joni Ernst running here. This has kind of gone under the rug a bit. Earlier, people thought that there's a chance that this seat could flip. I think that's less than likely now. I think this will be around 4 to 5 points for the GOP. Joni Ernst will win. I don't really know any notable Democratic candidates running, but you will have the Joni Ernst get a run for her money, but she'll end up winning by around 4 to 5 points, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue for her. I think Minnesota will be likely. You have Tina Smith here. She won by 10 points in a special election or an open election in 2018. I don't really see any chance that she'd be able to lose. She'll probably win by around 6 to 7 points, maybe even more than that. I don't really think there's any candidate that can realistically make it close in the state of Minnesota. Going into the state of Texas, I almost want to put this as a safe margin, but I'll put it at a likely margin just because John Cornyn is running here. He's less polarizing than Ted Cruz. Obviously, you have Beto O'Rourke running who made the election quite close. John Cornyn is less of a polarizing figure than Ted Cruz, and he is a bit more popular. He has won his elections by large margins, but Texas is still a changing state. It's a trending state, but John Cornyn will still probably win by around 9 to 10 points. Maybe even a safe margin, but we'll have to see. Then going down here to the state of Alabama, Alabama is going to be a likely margin for either Jeff Sessions or Tommy Tuberville. Don't think it'll make too much of a difference, but Judge Jones is pretty much dead on arrival. He doesn't really have much of a chance of winning at all. He voted for impeachment. He voted for all these things that aren't really in line with what people in Alabama want, and because of that reason, because of many reasons, obviously, he will lose the state of Alabama, his Senate race, by a likely margin, possibly even a safe margin. In the state of Georgia, the non-special election with David Perdue, he is going to win by a likely margin, and in the special election with probably Doug Collins is going to win by a lean margin, because obviously you had the whole thing with Kelly Loeffler. I made a video about that if you want to check it out too. But Doug Collins is probably going to be the nominee now after Kelly Loeffler had the insider trading scandal. And so Doug Collins is probably going to be the nominee, which means that, he's not the most popular figure ever, but when it comes to national politics, he'll probably win by a lean margin just because it is a special election. It's an open election. There's no incumbent and either way. But yeah, that'll be a lean margin. South Carolina will also be a likely margin. You have Jamie Harrison here running against Lindsey Graham, who is not the most popular figure, but again, it is the state of South Carolina. I think Joe Biden might do a little bit better here, probably lose by 11, but the Senate race will be a bit closer than that. Probably you'd have Lindsey Graham winning by around 9 to 10 points. Next, we will go up to the state of Kentucky. Kentucky will also be by a likely margin to Mitch McConnell. You have Amy McGrath is most likely going to be the nominee here. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue for Mitch McConnell. Obviously, in 2014, it looked like there was a chance he could lose, but towards the end, he ended up pulling away. That might be what you see again. Originally, you might think that there's a lot of excitement about Democrats winning in this state, especially since they won the governor's race, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Mitch McConnell will lose by a likely margin. State politics are different from national politics. Then we'll go down here to the state of New Mexico. Actually, we'll go up to the state of Michigan. I think Michigan is going to be by a lean margin. I think that Gary Peters is going to beat John James. John James already lost by 7 points to Debbie Stabenow, and I think Gary Peters, while he does have less name recognition, while it isn't in a wave year anymore, I think that it's likely that Joe Biden will win in the presidential election, making it pretty much impossible that John James is going to win in the Senate election. And I think since he already lost, and it is the state of Michigan, which is a traditionally blue state, he is going to lose by around a lean margin. Going down here to the state of New Mexico, I think that New Mexico is going to be a likely margin just because it is an open election. It'll probably be a bit closer just due to that, but New Mexico is a pretty blue state. It hasn't gone red since 2004 when George Bush won it against John Kerry. As for the Senate election, I don't even know the last time that the Republicans had a senator here, but Tom Udall is retiring. Udall was first elected in 2008. But he is not running anymore, and I think that because of that, it will be a bit closer than that, but Democrats will win it regardless. From the state of Colorado, I think Colorado will be a bit closer than everybody thinks it will. I think that John Hickenlooper isn't it's a pretty sure win against Cory Gardner, but it will be around 4 to 5 points. Cory Gardner has been in line with Trump on pretty much everything, despite the fact that Colorado is a blue state. It hasn't gone red again like New Mexico since 2004. So when George W. Bush did a lot better with the Latino vote, I don't think Cory Gardner will get that kind of support, and he'll end up losing by a lean margin. Before we get to these three final states, we will go up to the state of New Hampshire. I think New Hampshire is going to be a lean margin, possibly even a likely margin. I don't think Republicans, I don't really think they have a candidate to run against the Democrat in New Hampshire, and so New Hampshire is going to be a lean Democratic seat for the Senate. Going down to these three final seats that are going to pretty much decide the Senate, we have Arizona, North Carolina, and Maine. The Republicans are already at 50 seats, but I do think that in the state of Arizona, Democrats are going to win by a tilt margin. Obviously, tilt margin within 2 points. I think this will be around 1.5 points, less than what Kyrsten Sinema won it by, which was 2.6 percentage points with an independent in 2018. But this election, what we will see is that Mark Kelly is most likely going to win. Martha McSally is not a very popular figure here. She sides with Trump on a lot of things. She already lost an election in 2018, and she was appointed regardless, so she hasn't actually been elected to this seat, so it's not really like she's an incumbent. But I do think that she is going to lose her seat to Mark Kelly by a tilt margin. It is going to be close, but Mark Kelly is going to get a pretty comfortable margin of victory, in my opinion. Going up here to the state of North Carolina, I think North Carolina is at this point a tilt Republican state. Tom Tillis is not a very popular figure here, and Democrats have proven they have the ability to win. They won with Roy Cooper in 2016 for the governorship race, and they have had Democratic senators in the past, and they've had them pretty recently too. Democrats did win here in 2008 with Barack Obama. in the presidential race. And Thom Tillis, again, is not a very popular figure, and it's not the most safe red state anyway. So I think that this will be very close. But at this margin, at this point, I still will put it at a tilt margin for Thom Tillis from the state of North Carolina. And finally, from the state of Maine, I will still put Maine at a tilt margin for Susan Collins. I think that Susan Collins is going to narrowly hold on to her seat, and it is going to be a very close margin. But at the end of the day, she is going to win against Sarah Gideon, who is the current Speaker of the House from the state of Maine. This very well could change. Obviously, many election prediction services have changed Maine and North Carolina to toss-ups, but if I had to choose, I'd put them both still at tilt Republican, but that easily could change. So the final map, as it stands right now, as it looks at this point from April 4th, 2020, is 52 Republicans, 48 Democrats, a net gain of 1 for the Democrats, winning in Colorado and Arizona and losing in Alabama. This is a very likely scenario in my opinion, but if Democrats really want to take back the Senate, they're going to have to win at Maine and North Carolina, and possibly they could even win in states like Kansas or Montana, but we'll have to see as we get closer to Election Day, once the nominees are decided, once we have more information about polling, about trends, all those kinds of things. But yeah, this is my preliminary prediction for April of 2020 for the Senate election prediction, 52 Republicans, 48 Democrats. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys later.